All right, ladies and gentlemen, good Wednesday morning. Let's throttle up for AR, accelerated retirement. All clear, man. Inflation's a little lighter. Uh, and, here we go. It's so funny, man. This freak out. Well, I mean, the deeper freak out of, oh my gosh, a little soft jobs report, we're all going to die. This was comical. Real quick technical thing, though. I mean, take a look at the MACD down here on the S&P 500. Right there. And then we got a big wide ugliness and it's over with that crossing right down there. So this technically is the start of a new rally. Just like we talked about, copy this and paste it over there. That's kind of exactly what has happened. So trying to get back up to the 50-day moving average, and then boom, off to the races again. All clear. We have a how about Chipotle, man? Great call. We'll talk about that in a second. We have a lifetime brief tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. If you're already in the lifetime group, you don't have to come. If you don't want to be a lifetime member, you don't have to come. But we're going to make a month-to-month offer. So let me give you the link for tomorrow's brief. It can be a lump sum investment, which is cheaper, or you can break it up over the 12 months. So I'll give you all this stuff tomorrow morning, obviously. There's a special brief. Copy training information. That was an interesting 24 hours with Starbucks and Chipotle. I mean, the Wall Street Journal's blasting out articles, and it's just so funny, man. Good lesson learned, though. I haven't seen one of those in a long time, and that's free money. That's just free money when you see something like that happening. All right, let's go ahead and get started here. Looks like, Iran signals it's climbing down from Israel attack plans 2 weeks after the Hamas dude got killed. Epic assassination in the heart of Iran, in an Iraqi Quds Force beautiful, nice looking pad where it's supposed to be safe, and they killed him in there, man. So, some people are saying, hey, this is part of the terrorism. We're just going to make you wait. But there's shit going on, man. There's Israeli jets pounding, Lebanon positions and Hezbollah, and they're launching rockets. So it's not like nothing's going on. It's just maybe the full scale, what they did a couple months ago isn't going to happen. Like we talked about yesterday, it's almost like Iran's waiting for my old battle group, the Abraham Lincoln, to show up, the USS Georgia to show up, all the fighter jets, the F-22s, the Hornets to get into place in Saudi Arabia, maybe Jordan, who knows, Kuwait, and then Iran's going to try and do something limp-wristed and know it's going to all get shot down. But just interesting. This ain't the end of it. If anything, all it does is kick the can down the road a little bit for what's to come, which is a nuclear exchange. Troops have been injured in Iraq. Troops have been injured in Syria. Not a word from the commander in chief or Kamala. Not a word. One of the most important functions of the President of the United States is commander in chief of the military, to keep your troops safe. Not a word. Traumatic brain injury in at least 2 of them on the attack in Syria. Not a word. Not a word from the media either. If you're a parent, a spouse, a family member of somebody at one of those bases, you care, don't you? But this guy's a commander in chief who looks at his watch at Dover like, what time's this thing over? When's the last casket get off? I got stuff to do. Really heartbreaking. All right. So inflation, whoa, inflation slipped to 2.9% in July, lower than expected. Everything's great again, Wiz. Isn't it funny how the narrative, I mean, a year ago, the media and Democrats were talking about ditching Kamala from the ticket. She's dragging Joe down. She's done nothing for 3.5 years. She failed at the border. Fill in the blank, all the bad things they were saying behind Kamala's back or maybe to her face. And then in the blink of an eye, she's on Time Magazine. She's the savior of this country. A couple weeks ago, jobs came in a little soft. For the love of God and all things holy, we're going into a recession. The plane has crashed. Jerome Powell has to cut an emergency rate cut, not just cut like do it now, N50. What? Yeah, do it now, and it's got to be super deep. So they really scared everybody, market participants into we're all going to die and Jerome needs to act. We essentially pulled forward the September, October shit show, didn't we? Now, the Fed funds futures rate, absolutely, we're getting to 100% probability we're getting a rate cut next month. Really? Inflation wasn't that cooled. I mean, CPI, and here's the funny headline. You ready? Subheadline: CPI report likely seals the case for the Fed to begin cutting interest rates at its next meeting. This seals the case. The light jobs report and this seals the case. You could not have timed this more perfectly if you're a Democrat. Let's have a shitty jobs. It wasn't shitty. Let's have a somewhat weak jobs number. And let's have inflation slip a little bit. Porridge. It's absolute porridge. If you're a Six Sigma person, you know the odds of getting all the dials turned at the right thing to produce this is pretty damn hard, and they're doing it. It's perfect. I salute that as an impartial observer that I can be sometimes. I just think it's masterful. It is literally Herman, or not Goering, whatever his name is, the Goebbels or whatever, the propaganda minister of Nazi Germany, literally taking this woman who you cannot, when Democrats are pressed to name one thing she's done in the past 3.5 years as vice president, they can't name a single thing. And in the blink of an eye, she's up in every poll. Donald Trump's going to lose. And it's just, the propaganda is insane. So, U.S. inflation edged lower in July, extending a run encouraging readings. We've had a great run of inflation readings following the rocky stretch. Okay. So now it's time to cut rates. All right, man. Wednesday's report wasn't perfect. With the cost of housing riser, housing's out of control, folks. Why is housing out of control? Two initials, JP, Jerome Powell, folks, the Fed. The Fed has distorted since 2008 the housing market. And the fact that the stock market is just so dependent on what the Fed is doing, it's insane. Plenty of economists still think we can avoid a near-term recession. They point out that the latest uptick in unemployment was fueled by temporary layoffs, blah, 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 blah. So, some analysts have also cited easing inflation as a cause for optimism. The Fed's, last week we're talking about, oh my God, we're all going to die. The Fed crash landed. And now with this thing, it's like, oh no, we're back to everybody's fine. We're going to land this plane safely. It's just, if you have whiplash, it's to be understood. Just know this. Under the Federal Reserve markets, which we have since 2008, the markets will do this, up and to the right. We will have these, but net, you could buy SPX right now. If you could buy which I wish you could, a 20-year call option on the S&P 500 up 50%, I'd do that today. And you'd never have to look at it again. And you'd beat just about every hedge fund manager out there. I guarantee you. Markets are just so distorted. We're $35 trillion in debt. I guarantee if Donald Trump wins the election, there'll be a deficit counter on CNBC, like the COVID death counter. Oh wait, Joe Biden's president? Delete the COVID death counter. Anyway, investors borrowed like crazy during the rally. Now they're paying the price. Double-edged sword, folks. Leverage. People love leverage here, and they hate it here and here. So that's what we saw in past 2 weeks, was a lot of violence because people were getting margin calls. People were getting early assigned. Now we're working that out of the system. Volatility pros say that record VIX surge was a head fake. I guess I can add to my resume, I'm a volatility pro. That was not hard. 120% spike in the VIX. Now. Look at Starbucks, folks. Down 4% since yesterday. We talked about a pairs trade yesterday. Get bearish on Starbucks and bullish on Chipotle. Chipotle is up 6% since yesterday. Did you get into your synthetic stock? If you got into your synthetic stock yesterday, you're already printing money. You're welcome. That was easy. That was free money. But anyway, don't want to beat this dead horse, because I can't remember the last time I woke up and saw a VIX up 120 without the world ending. I mean, literally, the financial crisis happened month-ish, COVID crash month-ish. Ukraine invaded by Russia. That didn't do 120. That wasn't even, that might have been 5%. I can't remember 120% VIX. Sell into it unless you literally look out your window and you see a mushroom cloud. That was easy. So now that you know this, you are a volatility pro as well. Add that to your resume. Market turmoil revives the age-old question, should you buy the dip? Yes. Always buy the dip. You will know, because you're smart, you're at Top Gun Options, we will know if something is the big one. Even COVID wasn't the big one. Why? Because of Jerome Powell. Again, 2008 was a pretty significant pullback, but what happened? Eventually, Ben Bernanke intervened to save capitalism. So in the past 16 years, and then we had QE under Ben Bernanke and Barack Hussein Obama. Do you remember this? So somebody give me an example in the past. I mean, folks, look at 9/11. I get what George Bush was saying after 9/11. Remember, I think he went to, where was it, American or United, wherever. He had airline people around him and was like, get back to, let's live our lives. That's how we defeat these terrorists, is we just live normal. I get what he was getting at, and it was the dumbest thing to do ever. The reason World War II was the way it was because the home front knew how we rationed nylon for parachutes and meat and rubber, and there was a war effort. But when you do the whole, hey, let's ignore, first of all, our troops on the other side of the world that are getting killed, blown up, IEDs, and amputations and stuff like that. We're just here in America living our lives. Take that, terrorists. So even after 9/11, it was a buy the dip, right? So, oh, thanks, kid. So anyway, the answer is yes. You don't even have to read this article. Many have been rewarded for buying into declines in recent years. This is why you learned over the past 2 weeks. If you didn't know this by now, if you're new to TGO, you need to be, or you don't need to do anything. You do whatever you want. I need to be and am 50-50. 50% in the market, 50% cash. So you can walk in and take shots of opportunity on the pullbacks. It makes absolutely zero sense to me to be fully invested. Makes zero sense, right? The only diversification I do, like outside of trading, home, microdoses, extraction, Healing Realty Trust, other businesses and stuff like that. But your portfolio, the thing you use in the market, needs to be 50-50. Now you can listen to a registered investment advisor or certified financial planner that says 60% equities, 30%, whatever, 10% treasuries. You can do anything you want, but if you're a trader, usually most traders, there are times where I might go a little 70-30, right? There are times when I'd go 70-30 in the other direction, a shitload of cash and only a little bit invested, but never 100%. Okay. So the answer to this age-old question is the age-old answer. Yes. Right. So covered this a little bit yesterday. I gave this to you read as homework because it's got all the big pictures, but here's the lesson learned from this. Tech rally, tech wreck. Tech rally. It's an age-old thing. Since the late 90s, folks, tech has a good run. AI had a great one, and then it got destroyed. The air popped out of the AI bubble. I don't know if it's fully deflated or reinflating. I don't care, but that was a perfect example, man. Holy shit, we called this weeks ago. I said we drew this line, right? It went through that. I said 95 on NVIDIA when it was going through all the spaghetti up here. It hit. I said it's breaking 100, broke 100. Look at that, nailed it. Now it's probably going to rerun. That's a good technical look. I can't stand the name, and you're putting all your eggs in one basket with that type of stock. But if you like the volatility and you like runs and stuff like that, NVIDIA is good. Yeah, I'll give you this one. So the answer is yeah. Of course, they're about to make a mega comeback. People had some good profits in the tech rally, got out. People got wrecked. We pretty damn close to the bottom of the Qs. Did everybody last week, look at that. Did everybody last week get your bullish double vertical on the Qs at around 435? What was that? Was it the Qs? Long tech, there you go. A week ago, folks. Right there. That's awesome. Bull put, bull call, bullish double vertical. Out to October. So, and what was it at? The 420, 415, 470, 475. Look at that, man. Holy crap. We're already up to, we're up to 460. I didn't do that trade and I'm kicking myself. Anybody, what a beautiful trade that was. Right here. Let me draw up a line in there. What was it 420, 415 bull put spread? Any questions on that? If you're in it, you're welcome. 420. 420. I remember that because we were laughing. Elon Musk, funding secured. That's awesome. Any questions on that one? Awesome, Bruce. Nice 50% gain out of that. I love it. And we did it out to October because I have no idea what's going to happen after October. Actually, I do. Camel's going to win. So but as far as the market, do we get to sell the news? Hey, finally, the election's over. Now we can be kind of honest about economic data, or do they just keep lying to us and just keeps rallying? If that's the case, we can get longer term bullish on the Qs. So, okay. And I might wait a little bit if you didn't get into that one. It's up 50%, which is a nice looking trade. So you got this. We might be, and let me pull up SPX too. I think we're a little overbought right now, and we might hit the 50 on SPX and kind of fade. So with the Qs, I'd wait. You see this kind of right here? This is a really strong bounce. So down, up, big down, big up. I think we might even get a little bit of a, just a little bit of a pause back to the 20 on at 5,400 just to find a little stability and then rip higher. Okay, so I'd sit on my hands a little bit for the cues, but the answer, and if you don't believe what I just said about the technical picture, and you, even if we do pull back a little bit to consolidate and then start the run again, then you do it now. It's your call. I'd probably do the bull put spread down here, 440 type of thing, and then do the bull call spread up there, 470, 480. If I have some time, I can maybe map out the formal trade, but you know, we might get a little pullback to consolidate, and then it'll rip higher. So yeah, the answer is yes. If you think between now and October, just in front of the election, the Qs are going to keep rallying, the mega rally is going to continue, then yeah, you could do the Qs today. If you think we're going to consolidate before the next run, you can maybe wait a couple days. We're going to know. We're going to know. I mean, but this is, whether it's the S&P 500 or the Qs, this is a solid, that's a big rip. You can keep ripping, but I'd probably sit on my hands just a couple more days. Has the U.S. economy reached a tipping point? This is what's interesting, man, is you keep seeing stories like this. We talked about Home Depot yesterday, like, holy crap, we're getting destroyed. And just regular Americans, man, still having a problem buying eggs or bacon or milk, and you know, using credit cards to do it, and credit card debt is like 1.2 trillion. It's just, it really is a tale of two countries. It's a tale of everything's great, listen to the financial media, listen to Joe and Kamala, or you take a look around your neighborhood and you talk to your family and your friends and you go, this ain't really the best, right? So, you know, we see headlines today like, hey, inflation's lightened, everything's great again, rally on, but the Fed still needs to cut. And then you see this stuff, right? As America teeters between a soft landing and recession, uncertainty is weighing on anxious consumers and businesses. This has been the story for years. Folks, do you not remember Mayor Pete on baby leave? I don't, whatever. Well, no, inflation's being caused by Putin. It's the Putin price hike. Remember, they tried to tag inflation in this country to Putin. Then it was COVID, or maybe it was COVID before Putin. That was COVID. Then it was Putin. Then it was Mayor Pete saying, well, supply chain. Remember all the ships, like 100 ships off of Long Beach and LA Harbor? It was supply chain issues. So this narrative has been going on for years, that, and it's transitory, right? Team transitory. At least Powell and Janet Yellen years later admitted that was the wrong word and they got that wrong. So anyway, yeah, it's just a tale of two countries. This was a good read this morning, man. Inside Starbucks, surprising CEO firing and hiring, right? As the coffee giant's share sank and activists circled, the board arranged a cold call that brought dramatic change. Wow. I mean, this was apparently this is a good read. If you want a cup of coffee at Starbucks, you can read this. This is a good, a little bit of who shot who in the, who killed somebody in the library with the candlestick. Clue. That's what it was. Clue. So, as we talked about yesterday, if you didn't get into the, I should have. I said it was a pairs trade. So a couple of people in the Afterburner group did bearish trades on Starbucks. Nice job listening to me. I said it was a pairs trade. Get bullish Chipotle. Get bullish Chipotle. Bearish Starbucks. Because this most likely, as I drew this line yesterday, will fill the gap. The dude ain't doing anything immediately. Math is the same. I think it fills this gap. Might not. I also said yesterday, if you're not aggressive, you wait until you see the whites of Starbucks eyes. Is it gonna, if we go up and we hover for a couple days, that's bullish. If we keep doing this a little bit and melting, it's going to fill the gap. Might hang there. Okay. So, Charles, it just depends on your mindset, right? If you're short-term tactical, maybe even out the Friday, you sell a bear call spread. If you think that it is going to fill this gap, maybe you buy a debt, you do a bear call spread weekly this week, and then you go out to I don't know, a couple weeks. If you think it's going to fill the gap, it's going to head back down towards mid 80s. You do a debit spread. So let's go. Let's go take a look at a Friday. What's that? 340, the at the money straddle. $95. A lot of activity at the 95 strike. You don't know if they're bought or sold though. 94. I mean, that's okay. 75. It's actually not a bad looking trade. I like this. Sell a single AUG Friday, AUG 24, which is actually AUG what? 16. Sell one AUG 24 or AUG 16, 94 call, buy the 95 call. Try and get 28 cents, double that credit right now, 56. You write that in your trade journal, as that would be where you would maybe eject between now and Friday. That's a good looking trade. 7, 8, 9. That's where we'd look to take profit. 70, 80, 90% profit on the credit that you took in. Risk in 72 to make 28. It's a nice risk to reward. And it's already running away from me as I'm talking right now. Starbucks is imploding. We're talking it down right now. I'd stick at 28. I wouldn't. Here's a perfect example of how when I say, hey, I'd try and get 28 cents plus or minus a couple pennies. If it starts running away from you and it's outside of the range that I said, hey, I'd like to get filled at that means I either have to roll the strikes up or down. Okay. In this case, I'm going to wait a little bit. Why? Because it looks like we have a little bit of a, sold off. First hour is amateur hour. We are 2 minutes out, getting close to ending amateur hour. Might recover here. So let's keep this on the back burner. And then, because Han usually asks, right, with a $5,000 max potential loss on a $100,000 portfolio, this would be a good looking trade. I'd probably do 75 contracts. Risk in 53 to make 22. 70% probability of the max profit, 73% probability of the break even. Okay. What the hell is this? Okay. I'd wait though to see what happens here if it gets a rally. Let me drop a 95 line in here. Feels heavy, so. Oh yeah. The ex-div date is the 16th. Yeah, be careful. You can get assigned early if you're so somebody takes delivery of the shares between now and Friday, so they can be on record as a shareholder, and then so I'd sit on my hands. So maybe if you're on the bearish side of things, or you think it's going to fill the gap, you go out probably a week. Maybe half the gap is right around. It's probably closer to 85. So you maybe do a debit spread out to next Friday, maybe the 90. Buying the 90 and then selling the 89. That's kind of a nice looking trade right there, man. The 90-89 bear put spread. If you think stock's going to go down maybe a little bit to fill the gap, this would be a good looking trade. You're spending $1,400 to potentially make 3,100. If it fills the gap, this is the 89 89 line right here. Over the next week, if it just kind of drifts lower to fill this gap, that's a good looking trade. I'll keep this up. If you want to take a screenshot, or remember, there's a little camera icon on the top of the window we're looking at here. Okay. All right, we got to move because we have stuff to talk about. We already talked about that. All right, so MDMA, folks, and the FDA. Not super surprising, obviously, with the AdCom, the administrative committee, a couple months ago or last month, whenever it was, saying no. So it's interesting because now, like yesterday or a couple days ago, two Lycos affiliated studies retracted, pulled them off their site. Their journal Psychopharmacology retracted 2 phase 2 studies or something like that, and kind of pulled it off their website. So obviously not good. Find the silver lining. It's the horses left the barn, right? I mean, a week, 2 weeks ago, Lieutenant General, Republican Congressman, and Marine, 60 lawmakers wrote to the president, and it's got strong bipartisan support. So if anything, it kind of makes the FDA look a little bad. Not that they really give a shit, right? As long as the checks to big pharma and the dinners and the, all that stuff, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, keeps going on, they're not accountable, right? Nobody's accountable in the United States government. You can't fire somebody. Hell, there are government employees in jail that still have pensions or get paid. So don't even get me started. So the good thing, like we talked a little bit about yesterday, is all the other companies, MindMed, Atai, Cybin, Compass. Yesterday we saw, the Compass CEO reminding people like, hey man, when we submit an NDA, new drug application, ain't no psychotherapy. That was part of the MAPS problem too. The FDA is not the psycho, analysis administration. They don't do laying on the couch stuff. They are drug pushers. That's in their name. We federally administer drugs. So Rick and MAPS and, well, our new drug application is going to say we do a lot of talking on the couch, and it's not just you're not just taking MDMA like you could at a club. Really bad. The execution of this was a horror. I shared with you 2 years ago, man. Got back from my trip, hanging out with Rick Doblin and lawmakers, and I'm like, when I would tell my ibogaine experience, who's the Michigan guy? Like, well, isn't it just like weed? Isn't it recreational? I'm like, okay, dude. I gave him a 10-minute. He's like, holy crap. I'm like, I didn't move for 14 hours, man. You're not taking ibogaine and going out in a club. So all the stuff, a lot of the stuff that the AdCom threw mud at, this is a gateway to cocaine and other. Let's get back to the plants. So a lot of the other publicly traded psychedelic companies, first of all, couldn't stand MAPS or Rick Doblin or anything they were doing. And they saw along the way all the problems and said, we're not going to do any of this. So there's good in this bad. I've supported other veteran pushes. I've supported this push for MDMA, but you guys know me as well as I do, hopefully. And I said, let's go with the plants, man. No, 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 no. MDMA was the most recent drug they outlawed, so why wouldn't we go with that? I'm like, because it's got a pretty bad stigma. Joe Biden passed the RAVE Act, sponsored the RAVE Act when he was a U.S. senator, man, against MDMA. So not going to spike the football, but plants. I get the benefits. First of all, I don't agree that it's a psychedelic. I've done MDMA. It's not a psychedelic like ibogaine, iboga, psilocybin, San Pedro. It is not a traditional psychedelic. It's also Sasha Shulgin made it in his garage outside of San Francisco. It's in a lab coat and a beaker. Okay. Aaron, I think what Luttrell and Crenshaw, again, Republicans and Democrats uniting on an issue and a government agency says no to it. It's so maddening to me. So I think what they can, at least what they're going to do from what I understand, Aaron, is they can order the VA to, from what I understand, there's one in Oregon. There's already VA clinics doing MDMA therapy on their own. So I'm pretty sure there's an end around. I know Morgan and people are already digging into the lead follower, get out of the way. We'll go around you. So I think that's the next thing. Exactly. That's a great idea. Is the Chevron ruling says, hey, government agency, unless it says it right, unless Congress wrote it into this sentence, you can't do it. And of course, proponents of big government, their faces melted off. People like me says, if you don't have that authority, do you not remember Benjamin Get Your Musket? We have a document that says anything not in here expressly given to you, federal government, we own. No, our founding fathers would be ape shit. They beat the shit out of us right now. Like, you let them get away with this. You did the exact opposite of what the Bill of Rights says. Everything in here is owned by the government. So the Chevron ruling is a great idea. If I really cared about MDMA, I'd be in that and running around. I just don't. We're planning Iboga retreats to Sedona. I'm getting back to, well, I'm not getting back to, we're staying on our course. If you noticed, I wasn't in DC at the press conferences or the MDMA stuff. I'm focusing on the plans. So, and, Kid brings up a good point. The AdCom and a lot of critics of MDMA kept saying what? They kept injecting spirituality into the MDMA, and the people are trying to keep it clinical and, no, like I talked about with Dr. Johnson on the podcast, BYOB, bring your own Buddha, right? He's like, MAPS, having a Buddha or it needs to be just a neutral room, not like a white room with surgical room with lab coats, but a nice welcoming room with plants or maybe a nice couch, but no like stuff on the walls, like religious or Buddhist. So I get it. But again, first of all, this sucks, but it's, let's famous quote from Marcus Capone when his buddy, was it Axe or no? It was the other guy. He's like, dude, what am I, shot? And Marcus is like, dude, you're living in the past. We're all shot. We're in a gunfight now. Put some dirt in it. So it happened. It's in the past. The other psychedelic companies really don't give a shit. If anything, they're a little bit more relieved. And again, when you see CEOs, we saw this 6 months ago with MM120. The MM120 press release, the guy had like sentences in there of, and by the way, no psychotherapy, no lying on the couch. You take this, you're one and done. 60% of these people that did this one dose 4 weeks later have no generalized anxiety disorder. So bad, but good. From this destruction will rise a phoenix. So Eric, I saw that. I posted on his timeline. I don't know him. I know some team guys that can probably get to him, but I replied to his thread and told him about our foundation. So if he sees it, great. If not, I trust the universe with that. And this was right around the decision last week. Inside the underground MDMA couples therapy boom. This is what MDMA was used for ages when it jumped from the lab to the couples therapy, man. This is in GQ right here. This is a great read for you. So they're not stopping. The FDA ain't doing anything to stop MDMA. If anything, again, they push it to the streets, and now it's, instead of going the right way where it has to go through a lab and test it and people know what they're getting, now we're back to people aren't going to stop doing MDMA. Veterans are not going to stop doing MDMA on retreats because the FDA said they're not approving it. It's just it's an exercise in futility, right? Where's Graham? I don't know if Graham's in here or he's asleep. Australia is leading the way in the developed world. They approved MDMA and psilocybin a year and a half ago. If you want to get MDMA therapy, you can fly down under and you can absolutely do it. And here we are. So anyway, typical stuff. We're just gonna go around. So what's the future look like, man? We're pressing forward, right? MD, MindMed. Got hammered, popped, hammered. We're hanging around. MindMed has their own, MM120. They have other medicines in the pipeline. They don't care about MDMA. It's not their med. It's just like, folks, if whatever Crestor made by whoever failed and other companies have like, well, our stuff treats cholesterol, but it's not even in the same, that one sucks. So rising tide lifts all boats, and then the tide going down hit them. But as you can see, it's already responding. I mean, hell, it was at a low of 650, and we're already starting to recover here, which is good. Compass, I like. I'm in it to win it, folks. I invest in all these names. I didn't dump them. Why would you dump them? Because it's most likely at a bottom. And if they were super going to get destroyed, they would have super got destroyed. I mean, they're down 3, 4, 5%. That ain't that bad. Ty's not looking too solid, obviously. 6 months. And then Cybin, obviously down there, it's 50 cents or whatever, 25 cents. But the bigger names, MindMed and Compass. And then obviously we talked about what's it called? Sabra. Everybody get your Sabra on. You're happy with that. We've talked about the wheel on Sabra or cash secured puts. It's a great name. Joe and Cody were in New York City last week. Super great news with the REIT. For those of you that are investors in the REIT, they had a drink with my sister Kia. Press release coming out shortly on her joining the advisory board. So the REIT is pressing forward. MDMA just didn't impact what we're doing. The REIT is invested in cash flow positive businesses on day one around, hospitals and VAs and stuff like that. So it's already making money. And when, not if. And let me give you my ultimate prediction for MDMA. Ultimate prediction for MDMA is FDA approval. A decade. I'm going to say 7 to 10 years. Now, Lycos has said, can we do lunch again? Can we? That's what's stunning to me, folks, is 6 years ago, they got breakthrough therapy status. According to Rip Doblin and Lycos and a lot of the other guys, they've been on the phone with the FDA every day. How was this a surprise? Did the FDA not for the past fill in the blank years say, you're having a problem here, this is a problem, stop, don't? What happened? How can you, even after the AdCom, Rick Doblin's given speeches like, there's some times where the FDA goes against what the AdCom said, and I'm still bullish. I'm like, all right, well, Rick Doblin tells people he talks to the FDA every day. They're in the loop, and how does this happen? Was that a lie? Was that a bullshit? Most likely, you nailed it, Arrow, is Big Pharma happened. So, yeah. So Sabra, Healing Realty Trust, hopefully goes public in a year and a half. If you're in it, great. If not, when it goes public, you can get in as a shareholder, but Sabra is a solid name. Talked about it. It's up significantly since we got into it. It's doing what Healing REIT is doing, but we're doing it better and faster and cheaper. And oh, by the way, when you look at stuff like this, mergers maybe happen, acquisitions maybe happen. Hey, why don't we just get together? So a lot of cool stuff still to happen. Again, MDMA, kick in the gut. Not shocked to Arrow's point. The more they dig into the people on the AdCom, the more people are like, oh my God, yeah, conflict. People bringing up shit like not even founded in reality. Well, geez, what if they take MDMA and go home and do cocaine and it's a gateway drug? The fuck you stick to the facts, dude. So the AdCom stuff, the more I'm kind of looking at it now as shit gets published, like I just didn't care at the time. I'm like, oh my God, man, these people could not have been more biased and really not paying attention. And obviously, I just think it's a smack in the face to veterans. It's just the FDA knows there hasn't been a new drug for trauma, PTSD, or anything like that in like 2 decades. They know how many veterans are dying every day, and it was just kind of a big FU. But you all know DC as well as I do, and you just follow the money. Nobody at the FDA will get fired. Nobody will, it just doesn't. It's just so sad. This is our government. This is our federal bureaucracy. And I guarantee you, a shitload of people at the FDA are a my body, my choice crowd. But only one issue, right? There's only one issue where that's applicable with. If you're trying to heal your depression or anxiety and keep you from killing yourself, it is not your body or your choice. Okay. And it's the same FDA that was jacking Navy SEALs up, the most healthy dudes on the face of this planet, up with an untested gene juice, right? So the FDA can do Operation Warp Speed. But when it comes to veteran suicide, it's just, no, sorry, declined. So anyway, any questions on that? I'm not happy about it, but I've already moved on. if you've seen my posts on LinkedIn and stuff, I'm not spiking the football. I'm depressed about it, but I'm like, get back to the plants. It negates just about every red team that the AdCom had. Ibogaine is anti-addictive. It destroyed alcohol in my life. It destroys heroin. We have an opioid crisis in this country. What the fuck are we doing? So I will take a little bit of a victory lap. That sitting next to Rick Doblin talking to these people, I sat there and went, nah, I probably would have done Ibogaine first. And I ended up being right. I don't like being right and then the big thing being wrong. But we were right. Arrow's done the plant. We've got a lot of TGO members here that have sat with the medicine, and they don't listen to me, listen to them. Sledge, Punch, Slider. We have a lot of TGO folks here that have sat with the medicine kid, and it's go with the plant. So exactly, that's exactly right. Yep. Charles, I don't think they're doing any more private offerings. I think the last institutional round was like it was a 25 million minimum. If you got 25 million, I think you can give them a call. But yeah, I think it's over until we go public. I don't think they're doing any more mom and pop. I think the last mom and pop was 100 grand round. I think Norm was one of the last TGO members to get his 100 in before they closed it. You can reach out. You can ask. I mean, all they can do is say no. Let me give you, just shoot Cody an email. He's the president. Right there. Bruce, yeah, you can get into microdoses. Microdoses is still available. Bruce, shoot me an email. If anybody's interested in microdoses, enjoy holy water. Holy crap, man. It is going great. These things are popping up in stores. Let me remind you, liquid death. You want to drink liquid death, right? Holy shit. I'm drinking liquid death. I get it's a cool name and kids might like it. Holy water. And it's got all these healthy nootropic coconut water, Avelia, cordyceps, lion's mane, L-theanine, L-alanine, L-glutamine, milk thistle, citronic acid, potassium sorbate, natural flavor. This, folks, after my hot fusion flow in the morning, freaking holy water, dude. Unbelievable. Liquid death is a billion, it was 800 million. Let's just round up. It's a $1 billion thing. Exactly, kid. Trust me. I swear by my Maverick Mind in the morning. It's just fantastic. They have smaller holy water things too, man. The smaller ones if you don't want the can. But this is the way. Yeah, Bruce, just shoot me an email. I can shoot you the deck. I'll hook you up with Dr. J and BJ. They can jump on a call with you and give you a quick brief. They are, if you follow them on social media, man, they're in the LA Coliseum. We got whatever. I don't want to take up too much more time. If you are interested in being an investor in microdoses, shoot me an email, Wiz at TOPGUN Options or No Fallen Heroes, and I'll hook you up with BJ and Dr. J. They are in the business day to day. I'm on the board and high level and checking with them every once in a while, but it is going. I could not be more bullish on holy water. And obviously, so if you are an investor, Rick, we're focusing on the holy water stuff for now. Maverick Mind is in the background, and it's still doing extremely well. Just word of mouth, and we're not even focused on it. So we wanted to do holy water for like a year and get freaking boom. It did, Deb. That's what I mean. The LA Coliseum and stuff. So the fact that Maverick Mind is doing so good and we're not really paying attention to it is a testament to, well, you guys, but also just the word getting out. I tell people, yeah, I'm microdosing, and they're like, wow, okay. So good stuff. And I have to remind people, 100% legal. There is no psilocybin in these, but you don't need necessarily psilocybin. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Remember, Uncle Sam, what type of mushrooms are you taking that has this psilocybin in it? These, they're outlawed. Let's go on to the next thing. They didn't look at all these mushrooms. So it's, I think Louisiana. Louisiana is the one state where you can't, it's 40, literally 49 states, completely illegal. I think it's Louisiana. You can't have amanita muscaria mushroom, whatever the Louisiana thing is. It's so funny. Google that. One state in the union, of all people, Louisiana. So anyway, if you're interested, and there's all the, and there's the lab test of everything that's in it, so you can see exactly what is in it. Okay, let's go. What time? Oh shit, that was a long time. I was looking at a sniper over here, but I think we're a little, what's the 50 day? I think we're a little heavy. I think we're gonna zip up and consolidate. So I'm getting a little. Because remember, let me close this down a little bit. Markets going up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 7-day rally, trading day, not calendar day. 7-day rally, folks, is a little much. Here's what I'm hemming and hawing about it. I don't want to snipe right now because we're either going to go up and kind of a little through the 50 and pull back, or we're going to fail at the 50. And it's a little bit of a coin flip with me watching the SPX over here. I don't flip coins. I like high probability trades. So I'm going to sit on my hands with the snipe. For Ann or anybody, let's go back to the Qs though. If you didn't get into the Qs last week that are up 50% with the October trade, let's go look at a new one. 40, 470. Remember that 440s. Let's go back Qs. If you already have your Q trade on, you can split. It was good seeing you. Tomorrow morning, if you want to join the hunters, I'll give you a monthly option. But if you didn't do your Q trade and you want one, what they say, 440. So 440, 435 bull put spread. Okay. And then what they say, 470. Add option, call, 1, 1, buy, sell, 470, buy, 475, sell. Let's go look. Let's go to the tape. And that makes no sense. There's your bull put spread, 440, 435. Can I get a picture, please? There we go. There's your bullish double vertical. I'd actually go, let's go up $5, 475, 480. This is just north of the spaghetti. Let's go look again. So up here, let me scroll down real quick. So, 475, 480s up here, and October's out here. So something like that happens, you might even go cheaper, 485, 490. It's up for you. So selling a bull put spread down here to fund the bull call spread. So it's up to you to play with your bull call spread strikes. And you can always stagger them. This is the one contract, but let me just, let's add in some contracts here. Let's go 10, 10. Sell the 440 put, buy the 435. That's good. Buy the 475 call, sell the 480 call. All right, that's good. Let's just do maybe 5 contracts. Okay. Let's do 5 down here and maybe 10 up here. Spend 1,600. All right, now we're talking. So remember, you don't have to have the same amount of contracts in separate spreads. This bull put spread down here is a credit spread. You're making money to buy the bull call spread. So you can always take this cash and make it, you know, whatever this bull put spread is making, and go buy the whatever amount of contracts up here. But I kind of stagger stuff a little bit. This trade on the Qs is risking 4,100 bucks, potentially make 3,400 bucks. You could always do less contracts down here and more up. Oh, sorry, more up here. 10. Coming out of pocket a little bit more, but getting a little bit more upside here. This is a 1-to-1 risk, close to 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio right there. But let me just stick with single contracts and you guys play with that. So this is the, if you weren't here for AR last week and didn't get the bullish double vertical on the Qs, this is the one that I would do today. The one that we did last week, it's looking great. You're welcome. This is the new one I would do today. QQQ 814. And then there's the risk. It's interesting too, man, because I've already seen a shift. It's, you know, the MDMA announcement was like an earnings announcement, man. I mean, it's in the past. People have already moved past it. Like in the space, we're like done. Everybody's already on to what? The plants. Now there are still veterans groups and hangers on and we'll reattack. And I'm like, dude, it's over with. It's in the past. MDMA, I'm calling it right now, 7 to 10 years. It's going to need, folks. I mean, the FDA essentially came back and said, you need another phase 3 trial. And then we'll take a look at it. Do you know how much money and time an entire brand new phase trial would be? I'm telling you, that's 3 to 5 years right there. Another year to 2 to get your shit together and submit the NDA. So I'm sticking with it, folks. 7 to 10 years, which sucks and it's sad. But anyway, all right. Let me send this out to everybody. Here's what's awesome. Everything's awesome, but folks, the old TOPGUN options, we didn't have alerts for accelerated retirement. They're longer dated trades. You don't need a text or an email alert. Now you get them. So new QQQ October bullish double at everyone. If you didn't place this last week, this is what I'd do today. All right. So AR now has announcements, which is great. Stop. QQQ. Publish. Trade alerts thread. Risk metrics. Trade alerts. All right. All right. Any questions? Like I said, tomorrow, if you're not in the lifetime group and you're want a good deal or spread it out over 12 months, join me tomorrow. I'll get you the link real quick. Or you're going to get a discount if you do the lump sum investment, obviously. Save you a little bit of money on the lump sum. Yes, shoot me an email, wiz@TOPGUN Options or wiz@No Fallen Heroes, and I'll hook you up with BJ or Dr. Jeremy, Dr. J. That dude's a 500-pound head, man. He is one of the most intelligent people I've ever met. He is a mycologist, mixologist, went to CU. Go Buffs. And I know because once we hit I think we're going to do 3 million this year. And we've talked to institutional investors, and that's kind of the go no go. Once you hit 3, the institutions jump in. So we're stroking hard to get to 3, and then I think it's going to be like Healing REIT. We're done with mom and pop. So which would be awesome. So just shoot me an email. Okay. Good week, man. We had a great week shooting snipers too, man. We had some nice snipes yesterday, didn't we? Really good snipe. Right there. 45% profit. That was a quick one yesterday because I had to go do foundation stuff. So heading out to Aspen next week, kid. They actually fixed the fuel control unit and it's getting out there Friday, hopefully. So I'm going to head out to Aspen Tuesday through Saturday of next week, which should be cool. You know, anybody who wants to go flying in the fighter jet and pitch into the fight to save and change the life of a veteran and fly out in the mountains, let me know. Love to take folks flying out in Colorado. Okay. All right, guys. I'll see many of you tomorrow. If you're not in Lifetime, if you are, you don't have to come. But Lifetime brief tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Okay. I'll get the replay posted here shortly and with the trades on the accelerated retirement page right here in about 5 minutes. Have a great rest of your day. Fights on. Namaste and basi. Wiz out. I'll see some of you tomorrow, or I'll see you Monday for Solo Amazon. Cheers.